The woman the desert couldn't break. The desert had a smell when it decided someone would die. Hot dust, old blood, and silence so deep it pressed against the ears. In 1887, under a sun that showed no mercy, a woman rode alone. Her name was Evelyn Cross. She was young enough to still be beautiful, old enough to know beauty meant nothing out here. Her dark hair was tied back with a torn strip of cloth. Her dress, once modest, was ripped at the shoulder and short from weeks of running. Dust clung to her skin like the desert wanted to claim her early. Strapped against her back was her daughter, 6 years old, silent, watching. The child had learned a lesson most adults never did. Noise gets you killed. Evelyn pressed her heels into the horse's sides. The animal was exhausted, foam clinging to its mouth, legs trembling with every step. Still, it ran. Because Evelyn whispered to it the same way she whispered to her daughter at night, just a little more. Behind her, far back where the heat bent the land into lies, rode a man. They didn't call him a cowboy, they called him the hunter. Skull, the man who hunted people, no one knew his real name. They called him Black Ash because wherever he went, nothing stayed alive long enough to rot. He rode a black horse with pale eyes and scars older than most towns. He didn't chase like other men, he followed, slowly, patiently, like death with time to spare. Black Ash hunted criminals when it paid, families when it didn't, and mothers were his favorite because mothers ran. Fire what Evelyn saw Evelyn hadn't always lived in fear. She had once lived in a small frontier town with a wooden church and a sheriff who smiled too much. Her husband worked cattle. They laughed. They planned. They trusted. Until one night, Evelyn followed voices behind the old slaughter shed. She saw men wearing badges. She saw a boy tied to a post. She saw Black Ash holding a shovel, calm as a man fixing a fence. She saw the boy buried while still breathing. And worst of all, Black Ash looked straight at her, didn't shout, didn't run, he smiled. That was the night Evelyn became a widow. That was the night she became prey. Horse the first shot, a rifle cracked behind her. The bullet struck sand inches from her horse's hooves. Evelyn didn't scream. She leaned forward, wrapped one arm tighter around her child, and rode harder. From behind, the hunter's voice carried across the heat. "Don't tire her out, mother. We've got days." Days, that word dug into her bones. Evelyn's throat burned. Tears came, but she didn't slow. She turned the horse sharply toward a line of rocks where the land broke into jagged cuts and hidden paths. She knew this land now, and Black Ash didn't like that. Derelict, the desert cabin near sunset, when shadows stretched long enough to hide sins, Evelyn spotted it, an abandoned cabin, half swallowed by sand, door hanging crooked like a broken jaw. She slid from the horse, dragged it behind the cabin, and pulled her child close. Inside, the cabin smelled of rot and old fear. There were scratch marks on the walls, names carved deep into wood, names that never made it out. Evelyn loaded her revolver, 5 bullets, 5 chances. Outside, hooves stopped. No rush, no shouting, just presence. A shadow crossed the cabin window, then a voice, soft, pleased. "You ride well for a woman carrying death." Evelyn aimed at the door, hands steady despite the tremble in her arms. "I'll kill you," she said. Black Ash laughed. "Everyone says that." Skull, the realization, end of part 1, the sun dipped low. As light faded, Evelyn noticed something that made her blood turn cold. Around the cabin, pressed deep into the sand, old footprints. Small ones, bare ones, children's. This wasn't a place to hide. This was a place where hunts ended. Evelyn pulled her daughter closer, whispering the only promise she had left. "I won't let him take you." Outside, the cabin door creaked. Slowly, the hunter stepped inside and said the words that shattered hope. "One of you lives tonight." The door creaked open, not kicked, not forced, opened like the cabin itself had given up. Evelyn raised the revolver with both hands. Her arms screamed in pain, her shoulders still burning from days of riding without rest. Her daughter slept against her chest, small fingers clutching cloth, unaware that death stood only a few steps away. The man stepped inside, tall, dust-covered, calm, black ash. His face was half hidden by shadow, beard rough, eyes pale and empty like an animal that no longer knew mercy. He smelled of leather, gun oil, and something worse, confidence. He looked around the cabin slowly. Scratch marks, carved names. Old blood stains. "This place remembers," he said softly. "That's why I bring them here." Evelyn's finger tightened on the trigger. "Step back," she said. Black ash smiled. "Mothers always aim first," he replied. "Fathers beg." "Mothers shoot," she fired. The bullet tore through the air where his head had been a second before. Wood exploded behind him. Black ash moved like smoke, rolling aside, laughing quietly. "Good," he said. "You still have fight." He stepped back outside and disappeared. Skull silence, the worst part, the silence returned. No footsteps, no voice, no horse. Evelyn waited, minutes passed, then longer, her arms ached, sweat ran into her eyes. The cabin felt smaller, tighter, like it was closing in. She knew the truth now. Black ash didn't chase when he had you cornered. He waited. The child stirred, a soft sound rising in her throat. Evelyn pressed her lips to her daughter's hair. "Please," she whispered, "please stay quiet." Outside, something scraped against the wall, slow, deliberate. A shadow passed the window, then another. Evelyn's heart slammed. He was circling, learning. Hoarse the escape when the back wall exploded inward. Evelyn screamed, not in fear but in fury. She ran. Bursting through the rear of the cabin, she leapt over rubble, sprinted into the open desert with her child clutched tight. Moonlight cut the land into silver knives. Behind her, black ash laughed loud now. "That's it, run." A rifle cracked. The bullet grazed her arm. Pain flashed white, but she didn't stop. She veered toward the rocks where the desert dropped into narrow cuts and broken ground. Her horse, still alive, lifted its head as she reached it. She mounted in one motion and kicked hard. The chase began again. New moon, the desert turns against her, the land twisted into canyons and sharp stone. Wind screamed through gaps like voices of the dead. Evelyn rode blind, guided by instinct and terror. Another shot. The horse screamed this time. It stumbled, collapsed, throwing Evelyn hard against the ground. She rolled, shielding her daughter, breath knocked from her lungs. Hooves approached. Slow, unhurried. Black ash dismounted nearby. His boots crunched on gravel as he walked closer. "You can't outrun the desert," he said, "and you can't outrun me." Evelyn crawled toward a narrow canyon opening, dragging herself inch by inch. Black ash lifted his rifle, but didn't fire. Instead, he aimed at the child. "Leave her," he said calmly. "I'll make it quick for you." Something inside Evelyn broke, and something else woke up. Fire the mother's turn. Evelyn reached the canyon edge. Wind roared below, deep, endless. She turned slowly, stood shaking, revolver raised again. "You don't want me dead," she said. Black Ash tilted his head. No, you want the hunt, she continued. You want to see me choose. A long pause, then a nod. Yes, Evelyn looked at her daughter one last time. Then she did something Black Ash had never seen before. She stepped toward him. She fired, not at his body, at the ground beneath his feet. The rock gave way. Black Ash stumbled, falling hard into the shallow pit beside the canyon wall. His rifle flew from his hands. Evelyn didn't wait. She grabbed the fallen rifle and ran. Skull the realization, end of part 2, from behind, Black Ash roared, not in pain but in delight. That's it, he shouted. That's the woman I came for. Evelyn ran until her lungs burned, until dawn's first light painted the desert red. But even as she ran, she understood the truth. This wasn't over. Black Ash always came back, and now he wanted her alive. Far behind her, hooves rose again. The hunt had only changed shape. Dawn crept in like a witness that didn't care. The sky turned the color of old wounds, pink, then red, then gold, while Evelyn Cross ran with the rifle cutting into her shoulder and her child bound tight against her back. Every breath burned. Every step tasted like blood. Behind her, hooves thundered. Black Ash had mounted again. He always did. The desert widened into a broken basin where stone ribs rose from the sand. Wind screamed through cracks, carrying voices that sounded like prayers cut short. Evelyn ducked behind a slab of rock and listened to the hunter circle, slow, deliberate, shaping the end the way he liked it. Morning, mother, his voice called, pleasant as coffee. You're still breathing. I admire that. Evelyn didn't answer. She checked the rifle, 2 rounds left, her revolver empty. The basin dropped away at the far end into a deep canyon, its throat swallowing light. A thought settled in her chest, heavy and clear. If the desert ends this, it won't be on his terms. Skull the last circle. Black Ash dismounted and walked, boots crunching. His black horse followed, scarred and patient, eyes pale as bone. He studied the ground, the blood drops, the drag of her heel. You learned, he said. That's rare. Evelyn stepped into view, rifle raised, legs shaking but steady enough. Stop, she said. He smiled. You won't shoot. She squeezed the trigger. The bullet punched dust inches from his chest. He didn't flinch. Told you, he said softly. You save bullets for hope. The horse snorted, uneasy. Wind picked up, whipping Evelyn's hair into her eyes. She blinked grit away and shifted her stance closer to the canyon edge. Black Ash noticed. His smile sharpened. Ah, he said, you found the cliff. He took another step, then another. You want to trade places? He asked. I like that game. Evelyn lifted the rifle, barrel steady now. You like mothers because they run, she said. Today I don't. For the first time, something flickered behind his eyes. Interest. Fire the shot that mattered. Black Ash raised his gun, aimed low, not at Evelyn, but at the small bundle on her back. Drop it, he said. Last warning. Time thinned to a wire. Evelyn fired. The shot tore into his shoulder, shattering bone. Black Ash screamed, raw, shocked, his gun spinning away. The black horse reared, shrieking, panic snapping its reins. Black Ash staggered, clutching the ruin of his arm, fury burning brighter than pain. You think you won? He roared. I'll crawl too, the horse bolted. It slammed into him from behind, muscle, terror, weight. Black Ash lost his footing at the canyon's lip. He clawed at air, fingers scraping stone, eyes wide with something new. Fear. Evelyn stepped forward, voice calm as the morning. The desert remembers, she said. Black Ash fell. The canyon took him without echo. Sunrise aftermath silence returned, but this time it stayed. Evelyn sank to her knees, shaking, breath tearing out of her chest. She checked her child, warm, alive, eyes opening to the sunrise. "It's over," Evelyn whispered, kissing her forehead. "It's over." She didn't look down into the canyon again. She didn't need to. Sheaf of Rice epilogue, What the Wind Tells weeks later, writers spoke of a woman seen at dawn, scarred shoulder, steady eyes, riding east with a child asleep against her back. They said the hunt stopped after that. They said the desert felt lighter, like it had paid a debt. Sometimes, at sunrise, you can still hear a horse snort in the wind, but it isn't chasing, it's warning. The desert chose the mother.